What's up, YouTube? My goodness, what a week. It's been an Eagle Nation. Of course, there's another video here in my Season of the Fan series. We are still in the off season. The free agency just opened up last week, and the Eagles were amongst the teams that dove right in. So the first move they make is trade Nick Foles away to St. Louis for Sam Bradford, and there were picks involved in that too. Now, the Eagles probably got fleeced in that move. A lot of people believe that. I believe that. But at the same time, Sam Bradford is a guy that the organization believes in. I mean, Pat Shurmur had him when he was with the Rams. They drafted him. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year that year. He's had some injuries, as we all know. It's been well documented. Coming off the injuries. And, is this going to work? Is he going to even be the starting quarterback? I can't tell you because I have no idea. The only person who knows what Chip wants to do is Chip. We're all just along for the ride, okay? And it's been some ride this past week. So they get Sam Bradford. Again, will he be the starting quarterback? I don't know. Will he make it through training camp healthy? I don't know. These are all questions that are going to be answered as the preseason comes to an end and the regular season starts up. But, Sam Bradford is now with the Eagles. The guy that they picked up that I remember in the last video, I said I really hope one of the guys I really wanted them to get, Byron Maxwell, they get him, former cornerback of the Legion of Boom in Seattle. He's now here. They do get another cornerback. I apologize, I'm blanking on the name right off the top of my head. I don't have any notes or anything. I just do this all off the top of my head. Maybe I should have notes. But anyhow, they get the other corner from the Giants, formerly with the Seahawks too. So they get two former Seahawk corners on the team. And yes, he went to Oregon. So, the Duck Dynasty continues here in Philly. It's just how it's going. But another former Duck is on the team. So they make those moves on defense. And, of course, they traded McCoy for Kiko Alonso. That became official this past week. So defensively, they pick up a few players. Offensively, they get Bradford. They also bring Mark Sanchez back for a 2-year deal. And you know what? As a backup, not a bad deal. I know he had his good and bad moments as a starter last year after Foles got hurt. But again, if he's not the starter, if he's the backup, again, not bad. At least he's a guy that knows the offense. He's been through it for a good portion of the season, and at times thrived in it. To be honest, and at times didn't. But anyhow, so they bring in Bradford. They bring back Sanchez. They do not bring back Maclin. I was disappointed in that because that's one of the guys I was hoping they would bring back. But they do lose Jeremy Maclin. He revisits Andy Reid in Kansas City. So Maclin now goes back to Missouri. He played his college football in Missouri. I think he grew up in Missouri too. So he goes back to the state of Missouri or Missouri, whatever you want to call it. I call it Missouri. Some people call it Missouri. So I don't know. But anyhow, Maclin is a member of the Chiefs, reunites with Andy Reid there in that offensive philosophy where they did not throw a touchdown to a wide receiver last year. So maybe he might help with that. We'll see. Anyhow, so they get Maclin. Now they lose Maclin. And this is why sports is so unpredictable. This is why when people tell me, and it comes with the territory. I understand it. I'm a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. I live just outside the city of Philadelphia. I'm a proud, fan of the Eagles. I'll always be an Eagles fan. And, the other fans of the teams, not mainly the ones that are in our division, but also I was having a little back and forth with a Steelers fan in my other post about this. And saying how I'm never going to see the Eagles. You'll never see the Eagles win. You'll never see it. And I'm like, you know what? I went through the late 90s Phillies teams, okay? They were kind of like they are now. God-awful, all right? Horrible teams. Then I saw them win a World Series in 2008. So that's where they can take their "I'll never see a team win." Okay, because that's a great example of how yes, I did. So anyhow, yes, the last video I did say I don't think the Eagles are going to get DeMarco Murray. And what do? They get DeMarco Murray, right? They get him and Ryan Matthews on the same day, the former running back from the Chargers. And I know he's coming off the injury, as I know Bradford's coming off an injury. Seems to be in Philadelphia. We like guys off an injury. Look at the Sixers. But, anyhow, I think it was a solid move. I do like those pickups to add to, Darren Sproles. Obviously, they lost Shady McCoy, great Pro Bowl running back. And they gained a Pro Bowl running back in DeMarco Murray. And they also add another really good running back in Matthews. Now, people are saying about the durability factor. Well, you got them, but there's been durability issues. Or Murray's coming off the season where he had the most, carries that he's ever had for a season in his career. Blah blah blah. I counter that with, well, they don't have to be the guy here now. They will share the ball. They'll share the carries. Murray will carry, Matthews will carry, Sproles will carry. It's kind of that three-headed monster. Barring any trades that we don't know, they have this three-headed monster at running back now. I thought it was interesting. I saw on NFL Network today, Sean O'Hara, of course, the former offensive lineman for the Giants, he was saying one of the years they won the Super Bowl. I believe the second or the last one they won, I forget exactly which one he was referring to. I believe it was the second one he won, their last Super Bowl victory. They kind of had the three-headed monster going at running back, and they had a great year. They had a great offensive season, and of course they went on to win the Super Bowl that year. Will it happen here? Hey, I'm hoping. But yes, you can, do it that way. You can be successful that way. The Patriots have been successful doing that, So it can happen. I mean, you can share the ball in the backfield and have success. I think one of the things that I've heard a lot of this past week, and we all do this, again, as fans. You have a player that you're a fan of, and that player goes to a team, particularly a rival team, and then you're like, I hate him. Right? So the Dallas fans are, kind of have these mixed emotions going on about DeMarco Murray. And one of the things that they were kind of saying that, I kind of want to, address, is they were saying, well, we have this great offensive line. We can put anyone back there. It's not going to matter. And again, I don't want this to, come out the wrong way, because, the season before last, I should say, LaShawn McCoy was the league leading rusher. He won the rushing title. That season, the Eagles' offensive line was healthy the whole year, and we're one of the best offensive lines in the league that year. Of course, that was Chip's first season. The Eagles went on to win the division and get to the playoffs. Last year, the Eagles' offensive line had some injuries, and center and Kelsey, they lost Mathis, they lost Harrimans for a while, and it did. It hurt their running attack last year. It's one of the reasons why Shady didn't have the production. Not that he had a bad year, but the production as far as yards weren't there the way it was the previous year. Part of that was because the offensive line had the injuries. And again, I'm not wishing any injuries here. That's not something I do, even if it's a bitter rival as Dallas is for me. I'm not wishing injury on anyone, but I do want to caution the Dallas fans out there by saying, last year Murray had the rushing record and he had his best year as a pro. Yes, a good part of that is because of the offensive line. But one of the other things about that offensive line, they stayed healthy all year as a unit. They were healthy the whole season. And going into this season, I mean, that's got to be hope there, is that they can have a great offensive line, but they got to stay healthy. And for an offensive line to stay intact the whole season, it's hard to do. It's hard to do for 1 year, and now you're hoping it happens again. There's been a lot of notion, we can plug anyone back there. Well, I'm not saying all the fans are saying that, but I've heard that from some of them, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm a big fan of running backs. Running back is my favorite position, and I understand that there are running backs and then there are elite running backs. We're talking about running backs where it doesn't matter about the offensive line. You can still have production. It's having that vision. It's being able to shake off the tackles. It's what do you do after you get through the hole? Can you accelerate? There are certain running backs who are good at doing this, and then there are certain running backs who you think might be good at doing this until they actually start playing, right? So we know this. Shady McCoy, who's been an Eagle, for many years up until they trade him, he was an elite running back. DeMarco Murray, I consider an elite running back. DeMarco Murray didn't always have that big line in Dallas, but he produced. He showed his worth for many years, and for those years he was in Dallas, I believe 4 seasons or whatever it was. And he had good years before this great offensive line. Now, he did have his best year last year, and the offensive line has a lot to do with that. The Eagles have a pretty good offensive line, too. Might not be exactly like Dallas's, but they're pretty good. And the thing about DeMarco Murray, and this was brought up in NFL Network, they had LaDainian Tomlinson talking about this, about how it's not just about having that great line, which is important. It's very important. But it's what you do after you get through the holes. It's the vision. It's the being able to shake free of the tackles. It's the acceleration. And that's something that DeMarco Murray has done throughout his career. And again, you want to replace a Pro Bowl player with just anybody, and it doesn't always work that way. And they got Darren McFadden. Speaking of guys coming off injuries, and they have Randall. I mean, they have some backs there, but we'll see. We'll see. And the chess game continues. And the one thing I understand is that Murray has had an issue with fumbles in his career. Totally understand that. It's a valid thing, that Dallas fans were saying. Eagles fans were even saying, hey, we got a guy that fumbles. Well, the one thing about the Eagles also is they have a really good running back coach in Deuce Staley. Former Eagles running back. I know Dallas fans remember him from the season opener those many years ago when he rushed for over 200 yards against them in the blazing heat, the pickle juice game as it's referred to here in Philadelphia. Deuce Staley's a very good running backs coach. He's been with the Eagles for a number of years as a running backs coach. He's done a really good job with guys like Shady, and teaching these guys up, as it were, learning from the trade. He was a very good running back in the day with the Eagles, and I think he finished off his career with Pittsburgh, I believe. He got hurt when he was there, but he was a really good running back here for some seasons, and had a lot of production. And now he's the running backs coach on the in the coaching staff, and he's done a really good job. And the one thing about Deuce is he wasn't a guy that fumbled a lot. And, Shady McCoy throughout his career with the Eagles didn't fumble a lot. A lot of the Eagles running backs, whoever got the ball, not big in fumbling, maybe there's something to that. Maybe, and I'm throwing it out there, who knows, right? Maybe Deuce gets DeMarco, shows him the way to hold on to that football, don't let it go. Maybe that's a plus here as well. Again, I'm just throwing it out there. Again, in my opinion, Deuce Staley, pretty good running backs coach through his time here, and he'll be helping out DeMarco and Ryan Matthews and Sproles too, and whoever else the running backs are. I believe in Deuce that he'll be able to teach DeMarco the ways of holding on to that football. I hope. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited that they got Murray. I'm excited that they got Matthews. I'm excited, of course, bringing back, obviously keeping them with Sproles, although Sproles is more the special teams guy, but he can come in on third down situations, and it also has that depth, and I like what Chris Polk did for the Eagles last year. I mean, he was part of that. Towards the end of the season, they had a little bit of a three-headed monster going with McCoy and Sproles and Polk. And I don't know what's going to happen with Polk. I guess he'll be the odd man out now, and he's a restricted free agent. I don't know if he signed anywhere over the weekend. I haven't heard anything about that, but maybe they bring him back. Maybe he had some depth, not only as a running back but in special teams. That's always a good thing, and so we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm excited about the addition of Murray and Matthews too, both of which don't have to be the guy. As you're worried about production, you're worried about, they wore him down, Murray down last year, and Matthews coming off the injury. Well, I mean, they don't have to be the guy on this offense. They'll certainly get their carries, but when you have Murray and Matthews and Sproles, it certainly takes a little a little heat off of the workload, as it were. It's more of a shared workload. Although Murray will get the bulk of the carries, I'm sure. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty excited, to see how that goes. The one thing I know is, they also lost Todd Herremans, as I said last week. There was also rumors that they want to trade Evan Mathis, Pro Bowl lineman. I'm not really sold on that move. If they do that, Pro Bowl linemen don't grow on trees, just like Pro Bowl running backs don't grow on trees. As much as a success as the rookie backs have had in recent seasons, to keep hoping for that, to be the case, who knows? And also, it's the same thing with offensive linemen. You need to have that line, as we all know. And if they do move Mathis, Herremans is already gone. If Mathis goes, that's certainly a concern. And obviously, you're talking about, well, if they lose Mathis, they'll draft a guard or maybe bring in another guard. Again, you're kind of hoping for things. You're hoping for things to work, and I think it would be a mistake. But you know what? I have no idea what Chip wants to do. No one knows what Chip wants to do. I'd say it's like it was beyond Thunderdome the whole week. It was just one thing after another. I know it made great banner on Sports Talk Radio and all the TTC groups and Facebook, and I was having my battles on Facebook too, but I got into it too. I got a little taste of the TTC on Facebook, and but yeah, it's if you think I have answers for what Chip's doing, I have no idea what he's doing. But I'm enjoying the ride, I'll say that. It's been exciting. It was a very exciting week in the offseason, week one of the offseason in Philadelphia, with the Eagles and in Eagle Nation. Of course, the next, chip, the fall perhaps, is going to be what happens in the draft. What are they going to do in the draft? Are they going to move up? Are they going to give up a lot of picks to get Mariota? Well, one thing Chip Kelly did say to the media this week is he wasn't going to mortgage the future to get Marcus Mariota. Again, is he being honest about that? Who knows? Right? But in some ways, if he is being honest about that, I'm happy for that, because I don't want them to give up too many picks to get Mariota. One of the things we know is that in the NFL, you can add players in free agency, but you have to build in the draft too. You have to have solid drafts. And there are some needs on this team. There's still some holes. I'm not saying it's 100% guarantee you're going to plug them if you get players in the draft, but getting those draft picks certainly helps. I know that they still need a safety. They still, perhaps need another corner. They definitely need a wide receiver, another wide out. If they lose Mathis, they're going to need a guard. So, again, these are things that you need to have a solid draft to be able to get. And to lose about 3 or 4 picks, not just this year, but in the future, perhaps to lose that amount of picks to move up to get a Marcus Mariota. Even though he's Chip's guy, it's his system. He'll maybe he fits it perfect here, maybe more so here than on any other team. I still don't know if it's really worth giving up the draft picks if that's what they would have to do to get Mariota. But again, I'm not Chip Kelly. All right? I don't drink the energy shake, so I don't know exactly what he wants to do. I think what we've learned in this week and a half, basically, is the only one who knows what Chip Kelly's going to do is Chip Kelly. And we're just all along on this roller coaster ride in our duck boats, waiting to see what happens next. It's been wacky. It's been bizarre. There's probably still moves to be made. Who knows about the draft? Probably my next video will be around the time of the draft, maybe just after it, with a little recap there. At some point, I do want to have a little video here with the captain, Jason, and my buddy Jason, and maybe Mark M too, and just to talk about the offseason, talk about the draft, and what we would imagine the season to come would be. It's been crazy. It's been all sorts of crazy around here. There's been another thing that they brought up on the radio this week, that the Patriots are going to have the first first game in the season this year, as the defending Super Bowl champs always have. The Eagles are on their schedule. Would the Eagles have that first game with the Patriots because Chip and Bill are, friends, and, would they have the Patriots and Eagles in the first? Who knows? That could be another one of these little things that happen, right, when the schedule comes out. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. It's been a wild, bizarre week. We've never had a week like this in free agency with the Eagles. Even the year when they got T.O. and Javon Curse wasn't like this. The Ashamoah year wasn't like this. It's been just amazingly crazy, and the wacky, zany craziness will continue because the offseason has a long way to go yet, and of course the draft coming up in April. So anyhow, that's going to do it. Happy St. Patrick's Day out there to everyone. See, I got my green on. Well, I always have my green on for the Eagles. The one thing I know that the Eagles are better at than the other teams in the division is looking good for St. Patrick's Day. Okay? Hey, we'll take any victories we can get at this point, right? So anyhow, that's going to do it for me. And hey, you know what? We'll see what the Birds have in mind the rest of the offseason and into the draft. So until the next video for the Season of the Fan series, this is Mighty Fan signing off saying, Go Birds! And I'll see you in the next one. Welcome to Philadelphia for the new Birds, and to the Birds who left, thank you for the great years, and good luck on your new teams. However, hopefully it's not as good luck as we have here. Okay, everyone, take care. Bye.